Hi, my name is Nico Ng. I've been in the lettering business since 2014, designing for clients, creating my own lettering products, both analog and digital, and traveling the world to teach workshops. Today, I'm excited to share my process and top lettering tips so that you can create stunning lettering designs too. Lettering composition is more than just drawing letters. It's about planning and bringing different lettering styles and design elements together into a strong layout that visually captures attention. If this is your first time trying lettering, or if you tried it before but you want to improve, you're in the right place. For each step, I've provided extra guides and worksheets to help you. The lettering prompts and layout templates, lettering style combination cards, letter design and effects cheat sheet, decorations guide, and color palette inspirations. Every step of the process is essential for creating a stunning lettering piece. I'm sharing these resources so you'll have everything you need to continue creating beautiful works even after this workshop. If you don't have the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit, you can download it for free. The link is in the description below. For this workshop, I'll be demonstrating my process digitally on my iPad. If you want to learn my analog process, I have another video for that, also linked in the description. I'll be using my favorite brushes on Procreate, but feel free to use any drawing brushes you have. You can find the packs I'm using in the description below. Let's get started with the first of the 6 necessary steps to create stunning lettering designs. Step number 1, planning. With creating a lettering piece, it's best to start with a plan. This helps you avoid mistakes that could cause frustrations and take time to fix later. It also prevents you from adding elements that don't work well together. Here, I have a quick sketch of my quote and layout plan. It's helpful to sketch a few options before picking the best one to work on. To create more dynamic layouts, consider incorporating different shapes like arc, slopes, wave, or semicircles. If you have the composition ruler template or the composition ruler design kit for Procreate, you can check the shapes included for more ideas on how to sketch your composition. Step number 2, composition guides. Sketching a layout guide before drawing letters is crucial. It helps you avoid messy layouts, weird word sizing and spacing, or missing words. We'll use one of the templates from the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit. But let me show you how to create your guides manually just in case you want to customize your own layout design. Here's a quick process for creating my guides from scratch. I move and scale my sketch to the center, then snap the top and bottom shape guides for each word on separate layers. Arrange them following my sketch. Use the guide markings to close the shape and erase excess sketches before drawing. For analog lettering, you can use the composition ruler to sketch your guides easily. Remember, the link to the full analog process is in the description. Now let's import our composition template and start sketching. I'm going to hold the composition guide 1 and click copy, and then go to Procreate and then paste it to our canvas like that. I kind of want to increase the size a bit, but before that, I just want to cut out all the other details. So I'm using selection tool. I'm selecting everything up until the top and bottom vertical guide. And then I'm using 3 fingers to clear that. And then I just want to increase the size a little bit. and center it like that. Perfect. Let me just bring the opacity down a bit because I find it too distracting if it's too dark. Perfect. So here we're going to add the word make. Here we're going to add today. Here we're going to add truly. And here we're going to add special. Step number 3, letter sketching. Next, we need to carefully sketch our letters, ensuring they're consistent, correctly drawn, and nicely spaced. These details will help your work stand out and differentiate it from beginner level pieces. Before sketching our letters, let's choose the lettering styles for our words. Picking styles that complement each other is crucial. It can make or break your design. I usually create with just a few simple styles. You can find style combinations on the combination style cards included in the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit. So you have the first combination. You could combine both wedge serif and mono weight serif like this. It's going to look something like this. And then you have the details for the styles right here on how to draw the serifs and how thick and thin or how much the contrast is for this style. For the second combination, you could choose to combine a modern script and a hairline serif like that. Again, you have the styles here, the descriptions on how to draw the styles. And then for the third combination, you can use slab serif and sans serif design like this. They pair perfectly well together. And here are the details of slab serif and sans serif. So I think I'm going to go for the second lettering style combination, which is modern script and hairline serif. But for my personal style and my personal preference, I kind of want to wedge the serif out. But it's up to you if you want to follow this as is, or if you want to make some changes, like what I'm going to do with this. So if you need to remember, or if you want like a copy of this on your canvas, you could just import that as well under PNG. Style combination 2, let's hold that, click copy, let's go back to Procreate, and then just paste it right here, just so that you have a reference. But for me, I'm going to wedge this out, so I'm just going to make hairline serif and then just curve out the serifs like that. But it's still going to look the same, just slightly different there. But if you can remember or you are familiar with these two styles, you don't need to import that. Now we're going to sketch in our letters. But before we start, I just want to share something real quick. For digital lettering, I use letter spacers to help me maintain the correct widths. Then I slide them close together to control the spacing, which saves me time on corrections later. And to keep my letters thicknesses consistent, I use weight guides. By adding these guides before sketching, I have a visual reference for how thick to draw the parts of my letters. In digital, I use weight brushes. For analog, I use the grid ruler or the letter ruler. I'll show everything as I go along with the process. So for the first one, it's the word make. All right. The word make. I think for this one, we want to create the script. So what we're going to do is on a new layer, just write your script and then try to write it a bit wider. And after that, we could use the transform tool to resize it to fit the guide perfectly, just like that. And then for me, what I do next is I brush it in with a calligraphy brush because for script, you want to have that thick and thin strokes, like thick downward and thin upward. And to help me with that is I'm just going to use a calligraphy brush like this and then lower the opacity on a new layer. Just try to trace it over like that. Don't think the E is a bit too big. There, yeah, it looks nice. Then if you need to make some adjustments like this one, the letter M, I just want to move it a little bit. I think that's perfect. So you can leave it as is, but for me, I kind of want to draw the outlines later, just so that it's going to be more consistent in terms of how I drew the letters of my words. When we're done with that, I'm just going to delete this pencil layer or the quick sketch layer, and then go to a new layer. So for this one, we're going to draw the word today. This is for the word truly, and this is for the word special, right? So let me just hide the layers. And then we want to draw our letter guides. So for me, I don't go straight, or I don't draw straight to the canvas. Oh, not this one. This one, I don't go straight doing like that, because doing this, it's going to cause like problems, like that. It's not going to be centered, and some of the widths are different, like the Y is a bit too narrow. So my secret is to sketch your letters on a grid. So you could either go to Canvas and open the drawing guide, and then just try to use this grid to like sketch your letters consistently like that. But for me, and if you have the composition ruler design kit, you can just use the letter spacers like that. TODAY. Yeah. There. And I use that as a guide to sketch your letters. So going back to pencil brush. So for this one, I'm actually on a new layer. So this helps with the width, because certain letters, like the normal size letters, needs to have more or less the same narrow or same width, right? So for example, the letters A, B, C, these are normal size letters. So they need to have more or less the same width. And for the letter M and W, those are wider letters, right? So they should be wider. They shouldn't have the exact same width. And for the narrow letters, like letter I, of course, it's going to be way thinner. So this is just what I use to do like a quick sketch on the widths of my letters. Okay. So for the thickness, it's that thick. So put that. And D must also have more or less the same thickness. So basically, I'm just using this to do like a quick sketch, because these are not going to be the final letters. Like that, okay? Like after you're done with that, you can adjust your letters to give them a really nice spacing. So I'm just going to select the first letter and then move it horizontally closer to the letter O. Like that, I think that's a nice spacing. And then I'm just gonna bring it closer to the letter D. That. Move it closer to the letter A. So if you did it, or if you drew this on the grid, you can also move this or move your letters closer to each other till you get a nice spacing. You see that? That's how you create like a nice spacing, and that's how you get like really consistent widths for your letters. That. So let's bring our guide back right here. So today is going to fit here on the second shape right here. So let's just try to fit this inside the shape. So since the top part is an arc, we're going to use warp. Let me just pull this down a little bit like that. There. We now have our guide on how to space and how to size the letters properly. So we're going to do the same for the next word. The next word is truly. So let's hide everything and show the letter spacers. So let's draw the letter T again. Like that. For the R, like that. For the R, you need a vertical stem and then a curved bowl right there, and then the tail right there. And for the letter U, I'm going to curve this like that. That's a U. And then for the serif U, it's only the left side that is thick. Like that. Then the letter L. So again, for this step, it doesn't have to look pretty. There. Okay. Then if there are certain things you want to adjust, for example, the T looks a bit too narrow. You want to like extend that a bit, maybe up to here and up to here. Like that. Okay, I think. And then the Y, kind of want to make this a bit wider. So I'm going to select that and then just move it to the side a bit. Select the other side and move it to the side a little bit as well. Then just try to do like a quick sketch to clean it up. Perfect. Now let's fix the spacing. So let's select that and move that to the left and right. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, my magnetics is turned on. So I'm able to fix the movement to a horizontal motion. So next is, let's select up to U. We just move this until you get like a really nice even spacing. For the letter L, since the top part is empty and the bottom Y, or the bottom part of the Y is a bit empty, oops, it's like a perfect match. Like that. I think the spacing looks okay now. So let's bring back our composition and then bring this there. Just like that. Okay. Truly is there. Next is the word special. So for the word special, since it is in a circular shape, but before that, to make things easier is, let's just erase everything. Since we just need one, let's erase all of the other boxes until we only have one. And then let's just make it the same size or give it the same height as this circular shape right there. Perfect. So, kind of a new layer, and let's draw our letter S. S is going to be like this. Okay. You have a smaller bowl on top and a bigger bowl at the bottom. And the spine is a thick part since we're going to draw this in serif. Like that. And then just draw the serifs. Like that. So that is the first letter S. Next is the letter P. So for the letter P, Like that. Okay. P, let's just center this. Perfect. P. Next is E. So E is going to be like this. You have the top and bottom serifs here, and here in the crossbar as well, and here. Let's center this again. Next letter is C. So if you're having a hard time with like the curves, what you can do is you could just like draw an oval and hold it until Procreate makes it into a smart shape. Oops, and just fill it in like that. This is the inner circle like that. Then just erase this part and draw your serif. So next is I. I is relatively easy. Stuff like that. A. So for A, I want to draw like a roof right there. And draw the diagonal line. And draw the serif like that. The last letter is the letter L. Like that. Stem. And the serif here on top and at the bottom. And for the extension at the bottom. Perfect. Let's hide that. And then let's bring our guide back up. And then let's just place our letters. For the letter S, let's just move it to the top. So for this, we just want to remove the magnetics so that we can, because right now it's going to be locked. And if we're going to angle it, it's going to be locked as well. So make sure you turn magnetics off so that you can easily move the letters. So we're going to start with S and then L. So first and last letters first. Okay. And then in the middle, S-P-E-C-I-A-L. So you have 7, S-P-E-C. So C is the middle. But since you have a letter I, which is a narrow letter, so this isn't going to be in the center, or it's not going to be in the perfect center. So yeah, let's just move it to the right a little bit, and then rotate it a little bit like that. And then we can now add the middle letters. Let's letter P. Make sure you rotate it to follow the curve. That is good. For the letter E, okay. It feels too crowded right now, but we could always adjust it later. Let's just finish the I, A, and L. Okay. So usually the spacing for the curved parts are a bit tricky, but it's still possible. Like that. Okay, special. So I think S and P, the spacing is wider here, so we can move P and E a little bit to the left. P and E layers, select them both. And just rotate it a bit and then try to nudge it a little bit to the side. There. For the letter C, I think we need to move it to the left. Oops. Move it to the left. There. Okay. So the L, let me just move it a little bit. Oops. And move the A a little bit. Yeah. That perfect. And when we're done, let's merge all of the letters there. Okay. So we now have the letter guides done. And as you can see, we've already like sized them and spaced them properly. But before we trace over them with our final ink or final design, another thing we need to take note of is the weight, right? We want them to have the consistent thickness, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add weight guides. So what are weight guides? Weight guides basically are just like, just brush in consistent thickness or just dot in a consistent thickness so that when we're going to draw our letters later, we're going to use them as a guide, which I'm going to show you just in a bit. So for the word make, oh, maybe let's just combine everything like this. So all of our guides are in there. So let's bring the opacity down like that. And then let's create a new layer. And then you could just, and then I'm going to use the weight brush of my composition ruler design kit pack, but you can use any brush that you want or any brush that you have. And then just mark it like that, how thick you want it to be. So I kind of want to make it a bit thicker. So there, there, there. As you can see, I'm just drawing like lines right here, which is going to help me with thickness. So later when I'm going to draw the word make, I'm going to follow the letter guide, right? But make sure the thick parts have that thickness. So basically that's how you use the weight guidance. For today, I think let's make it thicker. So much thicker like that. For the O, the sides have that thickness. For D, the stem is going to have this thickness right here. Let's just position them to the correct place. And then for the letter A, the thick or the diagonal part is going to be that thick. And the Y is going to be this thick. This thick. So, yeah, as you can see, using these guys, you're going to have consistent thickness for that or within that word. So for truly, let's shift to the medium size. We have small, medium, and large. Just shift to the medium. Okay, I think this is a bit too thick. Let's bring it down a bit. Yeah, I think this looks nice. Or maybe slightly thicker. Yeah, I think this initial thickness looks nice. Diagonal one, like this. If you're new to Procreate, what I'm using or what I'm doing is I am holding, not releasing, so that it's going to turn into a line. And I'm using my finger to lock it to vertical or horizontal. And then click on edit line so I could move it around to get the right position there. Okay, like that. Now for the letter S, let's go back to the bigger brush. Give this really thick one. Okay. I think it's too thick, so let me bring it down a bit. Yeah, I think this is perfect. So adding this weight guard right here. This is a little extra step that I always do. And for me, it's worth the time you invest in it because it's going to reflect in your work. Okay, so we now have the weight guides right here. So for the weight guides, you can also do it for the thin parts. But for me, I'm just going to use my eye to do the thin parts. So can now bring the opacity down a little bit. Okay. Okay, now you see that you have your layout guides in dot. You have your letter guides and you have your weight guides. So we're going to use all of those three guides combined to draw our letters. The reason why you want all of those guides before we start drawing, rather than draw everything and then keep on adjusting it, is because with Procreate, if you resize or if you resize, squish, stretch, you're going to lose that sharpness in your letter. So you're going to see that the edges of your letters are going to be blurry and blurry and blurry the more you move things around. That's why, to keep the high res quality of your work, you want to make sure that you set the guides and then you just draw them after, and then you don't keep on resizing, squishing, and rotating things later on. Yeah. So now I'm going to get my brush. You could use any brush that you want. What I'm using is the detailed brush of my lettering composition brush pack. And then on a new layer, let's start to draw our letters. Oops, let me bring this smaller. Oops. Why does my screen feels rough? Let's make this smaller still. Okay. So drawing this. So this will be the arc there. As you can see, I'm using edit arc. So I'm turning these into smart shapes so I could easily move them around like that. Okay. Then close the base of the M. Oops, eraser is too big. Let's make it smaller. There. Let's give this like a nice pointed end like that. So I'm drawing an arc using the smart shape so I could adjust things easily like that. Perfect. Like that. So that's the first part of the letter M. So second part is, okay, let's draw this. As you can see, I'm following the letters. At the same time, I am following the weight guide right here. So this is too thin. We need to make sure it follows the weight guides really nice like that. Okay. Back this up. This is the thin part. So make sure it has almost the same thickness or thinness as that to keep the consistency there. Close the top right there. There we have it. And then for the last one, we have that thickness right there. Let's clean that up a bit. Okay. There is my letter M. Let's repeat the same process for the next letters. A for kid. Okay. When you're done inking your letters, you can now fill in the inside. So I have a brush that does that process real quick. If you don't have that brush, it's fine. You could just fill in it manually like that, or you could color drop it like that. But for me, I don't like to use color drop because it's going to be completely filled. I want there to have a little bit of a natural texture. So let me just undo that and go to selection, automatic. I'm going to select the entire area outside like that. This, and hit invert. And I'm going to go to your brushes. And I have under my ink lettering brush pack, I have this shading filled brush. So I just brush it like this, and it has those natural shading texture that's going to add to our work. So yeah, there we have our first word. As you can see, with the layout guides, we're able to place it nicely. And with the letter guides, the letter or like the spacing of the letters look nice. And with the weight guides, the thicknesses are consistent. That's what we want to achieve. Now let's move on to the next word, which is the word today. Make sure to draw it on a new layer. So it's going to be easier for you to work on them later on. So I'm selecting my drawing brush, the same one that I used earlier. So for letter T, let me just draw a couple of, oops. Okay, let's do that again. Let's draw a couple of vertical lines following the thickness of the weight guide like that. And for this one, okay, horizontal line here or diagonal line, then vertical line here and here. And then I'm going to curve it up like that for the serif of the T. Okay. And here, it's going to be like a horizontal line. Let me do that again, make it darker. There. And then wedge. Okay. Oops. In the guide or in the combination card earlier, it's going to be modern script with hairline serif, right? So if it's just hairline serif, or if you want to do hairline serif, just do the same thing and exclude the curves right there. Okay. So we have our T done. For the letter O, again, you could use an oval like this. Oops. Make sure it's one continuous stroke. Hold it in so that it's going to convert it into an ellipse. And then when you hit edit ellipse, you now have the controls right here. There. That's the outer. And then let's draw the inner oval. Edit ellipse. Move it. Then try to use the weight guides. Like that. You now have your letter O. Next is letter D. A simple vertical line. A pair of vertical lines right here. You can move it following the weight guides right there. And then let's just draw a little bit of a horizontal line right here at the top following the, I hate it when like my palm touches the screen and then it moves. So annoying. Anyway, let's just draw a horizontal line just a little bit like that. And here at the bottom as well. Like that. And let's draw the curve of the letter D. So holding it in, so it's going to convert it into a shape where you can edit and fit it and adjust it nicely. There. For this one, an inner curve like that. Move it here like this. Make sure everything's closed so that you can select this later when you're going to fill things. So there we have our letter D. For the letter A,
this. Let's make it thicker. I think I accidentally moved the opacity, so I'm just going to bring it back to 100%. It's fine. I don't need to repeat everything because I could just like duplicate the layer and then merge everything, which is going to darken the light parts. So I'm not too worried about that mistake. Fair. Perfect. And the Y. Draw the serifs. The bottom parts as well. There. Today is done. So let's fill that in. Selection on automatic. Let's select the outside. You can play with the threshold. Make sure you select the area. Don't select this. You want to select just the outside of the letters. Like that. So this. Invert. And we're going to go to our shading brush. Right, fill brush. There. Today. Done. Okay, if you didn't select it properly, you might have something like this, so don't worry about it. Just use your normal brush to fill that in. Perfect. On a new layer, let's draw truly. Okay, vertical lines right here, horizontal line. Far, okay. For the letter U, let's draw this, or let's move it just a little bit, because it's too close to the R right now. There. Alright. Let's draw a curve. Connect them like that. There. Let's make this slightly thicker. Perfect. Drawing the serif. Okay. Next, letter L. Okay. Since it's too close to the U, I'm going to draw it just a little bit to the right. Just a little bit. Like that. If you feel like your words are too squished together, you might need to adjust the thickness to make it easier. But for me, I think it's a bit thicker, but I think the letters are still gonna fit well. That truly one more. Water. Y. Okay. So for this one, I'm just gonna move this a little bit to the right so it's not too close to L. Okay. Okay, we're done with the truly. Okay, I think I see a little bit of excess here, so I just erase that a bit. Perfect. There. And then let's fill that in again. Selection on automatic, select the outside, just the outside there. This one as well. Hit invert and switch to the clean shading brush. There. One last word special. Let's create a new layer. Switch back to our drawing brush. And let's draw our letter S. So for letter S, I usually start with the spine like that. Okay, let's move this. Oops. Make sure we follow the thickness guide and then draw like a draw like a curve. Oh, my palm is wet. It's super annoying. And draw a curve like that. Draw another curve to connect the top part. Feel free to move this around like that. Okay, perfect. Then draw the serif. Let's curve this. Also with the S, the other side of the curve is just draw it. And then extend this for the serif. Yeah. For the P, okay. Right now it looks like the letters or the words are too close to each other, but that's fine. We could just easily move it down later on. So make sure you follow the curve, right? Because in the sketch, it goes beyond that guide. So make sure you draw inside the curve or the semicircle guide like that. For bottom part, Let's curve it. Following the weight guide. I think that's perfect. For the E, the stem, the draw the stem, and the top bar is going to go here. The bottom bar is going to go here. Curve the serif. It feels a bit too far, but I think that's fine. The serifs of the bars. Just raise this up, clean this up just a little bit. Our E is done. We're almost done. So using the ellipse tool to make a really nice and clean curve. Like that. See that I two more letters. You know, with Procreate, you can do this, and you can edit it as like that, like a quadrilateral. Okay. Then the diagonal part, then use the weight guide to get the right thickness. Let's make this thicker so it's not too thin. Perfect. Almost done. The serif of the letter A, curve it like that, curve it inside. Okay, let's add the serif here as well. Just want to add one there, like that, perfect. Now to our last letter, the letter L. I don't know. Let's just hide all of our guides. There we go. For the word special, let's fill that in. Selection automatic. Select the outside. Invert. Switch to the clean shading brush. And then brush the inside. There we go. So as you can see, by setting up the guides, we don't need to make a lot of extra adjustments, right? And we don't need to make a lot of erasures, right? So if you want to make some adjustments in terms of spacing of the words, feel free to do that. It's okay if you didn't get the spacing perfectly. It's because you only had sketches earlier. But now this is the actual finished inked letters. And you may And you might have done like some adjustments while inking that maybe affected the layout design. So feel free to make any adjustments like the word special. I want to bring it down just a little bit so that it's not touching the word truly too much. So I'm making sure magnetics is turned on. So I could lock it to the vertical movement right here, just a little bit. Perfect. Yeah. I think I'm happy with this. So once that's done, we'll have a nice plain lettering piece with a strong composition. Nice and balanced. When working digitally, I usually color my artwork afterwards, allowing me to focus on one step at a time. If you're working on paper, you can ink your letters in your chosen color combinations.
Step 4, letter designs. Now for the fun part, designing and decorating your lettering. Keep in mind that design should enhance your letters, making them pop without compromising readability.
You can add simple or complex inline designs and depth effects outside the letters. For inspiration, check the letter design and effect cheat sheet from the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit. So here we have the cheat sheet. So here are some shadow designs or effects you could add outside of your letters. And below you have inline designs like this. So I think for the shadows, I'm just going to keep it simple. Line shadow will do. And then for the inline designs, I think modulated inline. So this is a simple inline, but you started with a thin to thick and then thin again. So yeah, I think we're going to use line shadow and modulated inline. And then as we go, we might want to design this up like this one. Instead of a straight line or like a simple line, maybe include like a circle or like a dot in the center. We'll see as we go, but for now, the plan is to add line shadow and modulated inline. If you're sketching on paper and want to add designs over your letters, I recommend using opaque ink markers for visibility, like these Posca markers. Okay. Let's add a new layer on top. Okay. And then add the inline first. So for the inline, I can also use the same detail brush, but change to white. So start with thin, thick, and back to thin again. Like that. Zoom it out, see if it's visible. Yeah, I think that's visible. So thin, thick, and thin. Like that. We'll just erase this a bit so it's not too far. There. Thin, thick, thin. Thin, thick, thin. And then I'm going to move it to the center. As you can see, I'm holding my pen. I didn't release it so that I could still move it and adjust it perfectly if I didn't get it right. Thin, thick, thin. Erase this a bit. Thin, thick, thin. Thin to thick. Thin to thick. Perfect. For the E, thin, thick, thin. Okay. Then maybe let's just add one here as well. Whoops. Maybe erase this a bit. Oops. There. Okay, next is for the word today. Let's add one in the center, but let's make it slightly thicker. Same, thin, thick, thin. Locking it on vertical so I could easily adjust that. Thin, thick, thin. Holding it so I could edit the arc. thin, thick, thin. As you can see, I'm rotating my canvas because my hand is more comfortable doing the art this way rather than the other way. And this is a bit thick, so let me just erase this to adjust it just a little bit. Perfect. Thin, thick, thin. Thin, thick, thin. Thin, thick, thin. Thin, thick. Thin, thick. Combining. Perfect. Next is truly. For truly, yeah, I'll just keep it thinner. And it's going to be mono weight. Because it's going to be small. It's not going to be that obvious. So fix that for the U. I'll start with like a very simple vertical. And do. My wet palm is messing it up. Okay. There. And L is just in a straight line right there. And for Y, perfect. Truly. For the special, let's increase the size a bit and do like the thin, thick, thin. Let's just do 1/2 first, since this is curved like this. Here we go. S, thin, thick, thin. Thin, thin, thin. Thin, thick, thin. And do the palm thing in the flow again. Thin, thick, thin. Thin, thick, thin. Okay, so this thin, thick, thin requires a bit more practice with the pressure because you have to start light pressure, go to heavy pressure, and back to light pressure again. So if you're relatively new with sketching digitally, you might have a hard time with that, which is totally understandable. So you can just keep it like in a straight or like in a consistent thickness if you don't mind it. There, especially done. So I think I want to add some design. Like for the middle part, I want to add like a dot. So I'll get my eraser. Maybe do like an erase. Do like a line of erase. Sure. Right here. Like that. So there's a hole straight in the middle. Then I'll just draw like a circle. But perfect. I think that looks nice, right? Let's do that with special as well. For this one, let's just manually erase. So let's dot the center to erase. And use the brush to draw in like a simple circle or simple dot in the middle. Yeah, there you go. You could have fun with your inline design. Now let's add the line shadow. To make a quick line shadow guide, we can simply duplicate all of the layers. So I'm just going to do this real quick by selecting them and then dragging them to the center. That way I get the duplicate. Then I just move them down below like that. Merge the duplicates. Bring the opacity down so that when I move it, I'm going to see it. So I'm going to lock it at 135. So it's going to be 45 degrees there. And then on a new layer, switch to black. And then let's just draw or mark the line shadow. So that let's see if this is gonna work. I'm just gonna put like a paper here. Okay, it's a bit it's too slippery. It's too slippery, but I think it's gonna work. Erase this bit right here. Yeah, it's too slippery. It's not gonna work. So basically, we're just lining or like marking one side like that. So we're just lining like the edge of the shadow, which is the faded black color or like the gray color that you see right now. This is a long one right here. Perfect. Here we go. Make. If we hide, it's gonna look like this. You now have your line shadow. So now that's hard to read. That's because everything's in black and white. But once you color it, it's gonna turn out really, really nice. So let's bring out the shadow layer again, and let's create a new layer below that for the next word, which is the word today. You can draw it in the same layer, like all the line shadows in the same layer. It's totally fine, especially if you don't have a lot of layers on your Procreate. That's completely fine. We're just drawing this in separate layers just so that it's going to be easier to adjust the colors later. So basically, we're just tracing like the outside. Let's just do one continuous straight line right here. There. We're done for the word today on here. I forgot this one, just tiny bit right here and here. There. New layer for the word truly or the shadow of the word truly. Okay, now for the line shadow of the last word, which is special. The S is a bit tricky, but just follow the guides and you'll be fine. Especially that this is in a curve composition layout. So the shadows might feel weird, but trust the, oh, it's wet again. Trust the process. For this one, just draw like a straight line. Use the eraser to erase a bit. You can do that as well. Erase this. Almost done. There. We are done. So before we added our designs, they look like this. After adding the inline designs and the line shadow, we have something like this, which looks way more interesting. Step number 5, letter decorations. After designing your letters, let's finish our composition with decorations around the lettering to make your work stand out even more. Refer to the decorations guide in the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit to pick a decoration style. To avoid chaos or clutter, use decoration guides like a silhouette of an interesting shape to confine your decorations. A simple circle or more specific shapes work well. I have a selection of frame stamps, silhouette shapes, and foliage guide in my Mega Floral Composition kit. So here is the guide. First option is to draw leaves around your lettering, which looks really, really nice. And here you have some instructions. You start with a leaf structure, and here are some examples of leaf illustrations that you can add to your work. And the second page of the guide has some simple steps that you can follow. So the second one is an easier one, rays and sparkles. I really, really like this, especially if my lettering is a bit packed, because having like a very compressed lettering, you might want to give it a more airy or a more breathable decoration. So I think rays and sparkles is a nice way to decorate. You have some instructions here, like start with a silhouette guide and draw the rays. Yeah, you could just refer to this. And you could also do ornamental swirls, something more complex like this. So basically you also have like a silhouette guide and use different swirls, simple swirls, compound swirls, and leaf ornaments. So it's up to you how you want to decorate your piece. But for me, I want to stick to the simple because I feel like this breathy, airy, sparkle ray design will work better for this composition. So let's start. Earlier, I said that it's going to be easier to add some sort of silhouette to keep all of our decorations more organized. So it's up to you if you want to like draw maybe like something cleaner. So like this, maybe like an apple shape. And then you could just duplicate to the other side, flip it like that, center it, and just fill the inside like that. Bring the opacity down. So you now have like your silhouette guide so that when you add your decorations later, it's going to be super nice and clean. But if you have the decorations pack or my floral decorations pack, I'm just going to show you one of the silhouettes. So maybe this shield decor guide. Yeah, you have some frame if you want to put the decoration outside, but I think it's not going to work with rays and sparkles. So we're going to go to the silhouette and pick like a shape that we want. I think this shield decor looks nice, but feel free to like adjust it. So let's just center this first and try to adjust the shape so that it's gonna fit better with our design. I think this looks nice. There. So we now have our little shape, which is super easy. Now that we have the shape, we can now start to draw in our sparkles. So if you come back here, as you can see, you can mix different designs of sparkles. Like for this one, actually this one, you have this 6 pointed sparkles, and then you have these 0.4 pointed sparkles, but one is like thinner, one's like more filled. So feel free to mix in different styles to make your design look more interesting. So you can just draw them on like, well, something nicer. Like draw straight lines like this and a horizontal line like this. Then just curve everything like that. Then fill it in. Or what you can do is draw something like this, a curve like that, duplicate that, flip it horizontal, move it until you close them together, merge them, duplicate, transform, flip vertical, bring it down. There. You now have a sparkle. So we could do that. Let me erase that. Or if you have any sparkle stamps, which is going to make the process so much easier. So I have some sparkle stamps on my retro pack. This one. Yeah. And then just size it however you want. And then just stamp a little bit of it. Like that. And then let's switch to a different sparkle. Yeah, I think this looks nice. So I'm just going to add some sparkles around the lettering. And then I'm going to pick a smaller one, this diamond inline brush. And then just try to balance. So I'm just adding it to the emptier spaces. Like that. So when I remove my guide, as you can see, the sparkles are in a nice and clean design. Now to add the rays, before that, I just want to like center everything. This is just my personal preference. You don't need to center everything. That's just me. Or maybe I'll just move, using rectangle. I'll just move one of the elements a bit to the side so that when I center it, it's not going to move too much. Yeah, there. Anyway, so to draw a race, you want them pointing towards the center, right? So here's a quick hack to do that. Just duplicate, and then using the bottom part, go to perspective blur and go to maximum, perspective blur, maximum again. Just do it several times. There. And you can just oops, sorry. On uniform, just put it down. Maybe up a little bit. There. So you now have like the pathway guide right here, because it's important for rays to have like the correct direction. Okay. So when we done with that, bring the opacity down a little bit, and on a new layer, we're going to draw the rays manually. Okay. So going back to our drawing brush. So I'm going to use the pencil brush so that it's going to be thinner. And from there, just draw the rays following the direction. So like this one. Okay, I think I start all the way here. So thin to thick. So I'm just following the direction. That, do you see that? There. Next is, it's okay if you're intersecting or crossing your letters, because these are going to be super thin and they're going to be darker. So your letters are still going to be readable. So as you can see, I'm drawing line and not touching it except for the big one because I have no choice. So there. So following, if you see this, the faded line, basically just follow that and you'll be fine. And as you can see, I'm holding and waiting until it becomes a line so that I could reposition it nicely. We're almost done. That's this line right here. Okay, let's erase this. Maybe it's the palm again. Okay, hate this. So, it's halfway done. My wet palm is messing everything up again, which is super annoying. Anyway, almost done. I'm done with that. Hide the faded lines. There you have it. Our decorated lettering piece. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, since our words are a bit more compact, it's nice to give a very breathable decoration design like this. Step number 6, coloring. Now that we have all our elements on the canvas, let's start coloring. Keeping your lettering, design, and decorations in separate layers will make the coloring process easier. Pick a color palette from the color palette inspiration in the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit for ideas. Coloring your lettering differs from coloring drawings or illustration. We want our words to stand out, like this one. That's why the coloring palette inspiration sheet categorizes lettering, background, and decorations for designs. Because even with a nice palette, the wrong color assignments can lead to unimpressive results. So aim for high contrast between the lettering and the background, and color the decorations in midtones for a balanced look. So here we have 4 options. This is the Golden Midnight color palette. This one is the Pink Autumn palette, which is really nice. This is Bright Greenery and Cool Summer. As you can see, for this color palette, you already have the instructions like for lettering, use these colors, for background, this one, decorations, these colors. But of course, it really depends on the designs that you're using. So sometimes you might need to adjust the colors a little bit to work for the specific elements of your lettering composition. So I think for this one, I'm going to use Golden Midnight because I really like the dark blue background and a white lettering. So let's import that. We don't need to import the entire page because we have PNGs right here. So it's color palette 1, right? So hold that, click copy. You could switch back to Procreate and then, let's go to the topmost layer. So when we paste, add paste, allow paste, it's gonna put it at the topmost layer. Okay. So for this one, let's just move it up. We're gonna crop it. For this one, I think we could just make this really small and put it at the corner. There. So let's start coloring. Let's start with the background. So for the background, it's this color. Let's color pick that. So I'm just using my finger to hold and press. Press and hold. So I'm going to get that color. And then at the bottom layer, I'm going to create a new layer or like the base layer of our final design because we have a lot of sketches right there. So I'm just going to create a new layer and drag that in. Now it's completely black. Next is for the lettering. For the lettering, I'm going to color pick this one, which is going to be the color for our letters. So let's find the words, the layers for the words. It's this, 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 and this. And I think we can just go ahead and merge all of these together because we're going to color them the same color. So turn on alpha lock and then click on fill layer. There you have. So if you feel like there's too much texture there, if you want to refine it a bit, simply just duplicate the layer. And there you go. So this is before and after. There. You still get that some like manual shading effect. Okay. Next is we are going to color the inlines. So for the inlines, I think it's in this layer. So let's turn on alpha lock, but let's pick a color first. So let's just try this blue right here beside the lettering. Fill that in. Okay, we have it like that. And for the line shadows, let's try to color everything the same color. So what I'm doing is I'm using 2 fingers to slide the layer to the side. That is the shortcut for alpha lock, but you can also just tap on the layer and turn on alpha lock. Anyway, so let's fill the layer. As you can see, we can't see the shadow. Okay, which is totally fine. So let's just pick a different color. Let's give it yellow for now. Color pick the yellow, fill layer, fill layer, fill layer, fill layer. Yeah, okay. I think that's a bit too much, right? But let's just keep it as is for now. All right. Now let's color our sparkles. So the sparkles are black right now, so it's kind of hard to see. So I'm just going to alpha lock and fill layer. Alpha lock and fill layer the rays and the sparkles. Actually, it looks really nice as is, right? But let's change the rays first. Okay, so let's pick maybe this color right here. Top, fill layer. Yeah, I think that looks nice, right? Now let's recolor the sparkles. Okay, so let's color pick this lighter yellow right here. I think that looks nice. Then let's color the big sparkles in that color. So using a brush, let's just use a big brush. I'll just use the eraser brush because we just need to fill the colors. So make sure you select the right layer, which is the sparkles, and then just brush over the big sparkles to recolor them. Since the layer is on alpha lock, so it's just gonna color or paint over the existing drawings like that. Okay. Next is, let's color pick this orange. So there's going to be some contrast in the sparkles. So we have the medium sized ones. So I'm just going to color alternating. So orange, don't color that, color this orange, don't color that, color this orange, don't color that, color this, oops, color this orange. Okay, the palm undo that again, so it's just annoying. Anyway, let's keep going. The color. Yeah, I think, yeah, next. Nice. The next is, let's color some light blue. So for these tiny dots, let's alternate them again. Okay. Color, don't color, 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 color. Yeah, there. That looks nice, right? Yeah, I really like how everything's coming together. Okay, next thing is the line shadows. So I think the line shadows are a bit too bright and colorful. What do you think? Okay, let's try to do something. So let's try to give them different colors. So let's try to get this orange. And for make, the line shadow of make, let's change that to orange. Okay, I think that looks nice. Next, for the word truly, let's give it a light blue color. There you go. And for special, oh no, let's just give today a light blue color and a different blue color for special. What do you think? I'm loving it so far. So for the inline, let's try to give it a lighter blue color. Maybe, let's color pick maybe this color right here. This is the inline fill layer. I think it's a bit too dark. Let's manually adjust this. Go on hue saturation and bring the opacity, or I mean the brightness up, the saturation as well. This is before and after. I think I like it brighter. One last thing. I think the sparkles or the rays, let's try to duplicate that. Yeah. Now, I feel like it's too bright. I want to bring the brightness down, so I'll just manually adjust that. Hue saturation. Bring the brightness down, saturation up a bit, bring it down like that. So that it's not too distracting. This is before and after. I think it's too dark now. So let me just bring the brightness up just a little bit again. Perfect. And I think to fix that, I'll just need to add a shadow layer. So I'll just hide this color palette because we're done with the colors. Next is, so for the lettering layer, let's duplicate that. Bring it down just above the rays. Okay. Turn on or turn off alpha lock. And, oh, sorry, before you turn on alpha lock, let's color pick the background, give it the same color, fill layer, turn on alpha lock, and then zoom it in, turn on Gaussian blur. Maybe about 18. Not sure if you can see the difference. So this is before and after. I think we need to duplicate that a couple of times. Maybe just once. Okay. So as you can see, behind the letter A, before you can see like the line going across, which makes it a bit harder to read, in my opinion. With the Gaussian blur, now you have something cleaner like this. Yeah. And then one last thing, just add a layer to just finish everything. So I'm just gonna create a new layer right below the lettering layer and select, let's just select white first. And then let's look for any texture that you want. So let's check my retro pack. I think I have some nice light smudges. Oh, sandy paper texture. Suppression. Ooh, that looks nice. But I want to change it to black. Invert. There. So before and after. Let me duplicate this a couple of times so that it's going to be more visible, but I'm going to brighten the background just a little bit. Before and after. Yeah. There you go. I think this looks perfect. Oh, let me just remove the one texture layer. Yeah. Make today truly special. Beautiful reminder for each and every day. And there you have it, a beautiful lettering artwork. Having these resources at hand allows you to start creating immediately. It can be counterproductive to spend too much time searching for inspiration on platforms like Pinterest, where you can get overwhelmed. Instead, use that time to create and enjoy the process with these guide sheets. Now that we have a letter piece to be proud of, I want to leave you with a challenge. Lettering is all about practice, smart practice. It's a continuous journey of exploration and improvement. That is why I invite you to participate in the Lettering Layout Challenge. Inside the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit, you'll find more prompts with layout guides. Use them along with the styles, designs, decorations, and color guides to create more stunning lettering art. If you have time, aim to create one piece every day starting tomorrow while the tips are still fresh in your mind. If your week is busy, commit to finishing one lettering composition each week. Set a deadline like Saturday to track your progress and improve your skills while enjoying the joy of creating. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. If you haven't downloaded the all-in-one lettering style and composition kit for free, the link is in the description. Like this video and share one key lesson or tip you learned from the workshop in the comments. I've also included all the tools and brushes I used in the description. I'm excited for you as you start or reignite your lettering journey.
have fun creating.